What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Cork Stats for this Taco Tuesday, powered by the Mayo Media Net and presented by Jock MKT. Download the daily fantasy app for free. Use the promo code MMN. They're going to match the first $100 for free. And that $100 has been more than enough to do some damage. You've seen us do it every single day up in the Jock market. Welcome back, everybody. Here we go. It is all the nuance and context you can stomach, and the fastest show in MLB absolutely anywhere with your host, the big dude with the big mouth from the Big Apple, Big Johnny Stud, coming to you worldwide from Brooklyn, New York, as always, coming out the chair as always. Man, it don't matter. You can't stop this. You can't fake this kind of funk, and I really, really appreciate the feedback, the interaction, the community that's being built right now. It is just ridiculous, man. All day, all night, people reaching out, getting with each other. Man, just the questions that are getting asked, that's what this is all about. Having your head on the swivel and staying on the tip of the spear if you want to get paid in this ever-changing baseball market. Please rate, review, and subscribe. The audio-only pod, those numbers are climbing up. Same for the YouTube numbers. Man, we're doing something right. People are picking up what we're putting down. Press that cartoon thumb button because for some reason in this world, that seems to matter. Let's dive on into the three pillars of profit. We're bringing to you 115 EV off the crack of the bat every single day, regardless of the outcome, and they have not been great. Though yesterday was pretty flat, I think, across the board. I basically broke even in Jock Market, and we were basically flat or just below flat in betting. Of course, Seager didn't get it done. Everyone else on the Stack Attack board did get it done. But you're seeing, if you're following the Patreon page, I know Patreon gives people the heebie-jeebies, but you don't have to pay. It's free. It's just a great platform, and if you do appreciate it, make sure you tag and Patty Mayo up in the comments. Let me know how we're doing, because, again, lineups and weather, pitching changes, you got to really stay on top of it, and I know the people that have benefited. So without any further ado, let's dive up into the stack attacks for today on this lovely Tuesday. Yes, I love it. You know it's going to be a good day when we're backing the Buccos. Love the black and yellow. So give us everybody against Patrick Corbin. It's been a real disaster for him. 6.6 ERA, a 1.8 whip, 9.10 OPS on the year. All of our attack metrics firmly in place. The K- walk right at 10. Exactly where we want to look. You want to look for a pitcher that has a K- walk that's either at 10 or below, paired with a greater than 90% or more in-zone contact rate, which is exactly what we get from Corbin. He's not fooling anyone anymore. Then a little bit of bad math once they do strike the ball. 44% hard hit, 11% barrel, equals nearly 2 home runs per 9, but it's been a little bit worse than that, right? Not all batted balls are created equal. You don't necessarily need a home run to do damage. Corbin has allowed a plus 400 xWOBA year to date, man. That's exactly how you get yourself in trouble. The fastball, the sinker, the changeup, they combined for more than 80% of the arsenal, and each of those has a plus 600 X-slug year to date. I mean, when you're getting into the granular stuff and narrowing down individual pitches that have a plus 600 X-slug, that's what you're looking for, in particular when they're being featured. We're talking about 80% of the arsenal, and that's why he's been in the kind of trouble he's been in. Really no shocks there. So we want to look for Michael Chavis anytime lefties are on the bump. He's been excellent against Southpaws this year. 87 plate appearances year to date, a 300 batting average, 240 ISO. Remember, as we kind of get into different formats and become more of this kind of ubiquitous, universal baseball coverage, ISO really is at the fore of total base props, right? Because it's an extra base hit percentage. It's not necessarily enough to pay the bills in Jock Market. Now, I think Chavis is good for Jock Market. Anybody that's on the Stack Attack is going to be good for 550. I know people ask me all the time, but you got to be following. You have to follow the show. You got to follow on Twitter at MLB Moving Averages, at MLB Moving AVG on the Bird app, yo. If you really want to stay on top of it, because we're at the point in betting, sports betting, daily, and the application of it where you have to be sharp. Now, granted, you can have kind of blanket parameters early in the day, and that might benefit you, but you're really going to have to be sharp and know when to apply what and where. So, yes, I love Chavis, and we're going to love him for DFS because he's going to be cheap. But in Jock Market, we have to understand, if he goes over like 550, especially depending on his lineup placement, remember, you get a half point for lineup placement. Now, lineup placement is also at the fore of total base props because you're focusing on an individual hitter that can only do damage when they're at the plate. So, again, something like DraftKings, it matters a little bit less because a cheap player really helps to backfill, and that creates a butterfly effect across the lineup, where in total base props is very isolated, and that doesn't matter. So, okay, so again, nuance, context just pouring out of our nose, pouring out of our ears. Back to Michael Chavis, 882 OPS on the year against lefties, 52% hard hit rate, and 5 home runs. Love that. And Bleeg Madris, one of the cooler names, forget in MLB right now, possibly ever, has been awesome in the minor leagues. The Pirates are pushing their youngsters up to the front. He's been excellent so far since he's called up. 29 plate appearances year to date, a 345 BA, 931 OPS, and he has smoked lefties, nearly 400 batting average, 33% barrel, 66% hard hit rate. So it's not just outputs, we're getting some inputs there. Gotta love that matchup for both Madris and Chavis. All right, I told you yesterday I was working on the cough button and didn't work. Watch this, I'm going to check this one out. All right, well, if you didn't just hear me gargling like a slob, then it worked. And if you did, I'm very, very sorry. I'm going to try again tomorrow. Man, I know I used to be an avid consumer of content. And, people that know me know I'm obsessed with my family when I'm not working. But, if I got young kids, and here's a tip for everybody, if your kids are making you watch Blue's Clues all day, Teen Umizoomi, or any of these other kind of shows, I always recommend the educational ones. Stick an earbud in your ear, and you could still be interactive while you may be learning something. But anyway, as a content creator, I know the things that bother me, and I used to hate gargling and drinking and chewing and sneezing and ums and ahs and deep breaths and stuff. So those are all the things I really try and work on. Again, the lesson here, the feather in the cap early on today is, regardless of whether we're talking about putting on a live show, betting baseball, playing with our kids, or anything else, I think really the lesson is, I don't believe that you stay the same ever. I believe you either get better or get worse. And if you think you're staying the same, most likely you're marginally getting worse. And if you continue to allow that theoretical lateral movement while you're actually moving down slightly, you're going to be getting a lot worse at everything. So, boom, there's our lesson for the day. Let's get back into the stacks. It's Braxton Garrett pitching for the Miami Marlins up against the Cardinals. We know they eat left-handed pitching for breakfast. Garrett, 18 innings on the year, but it's been a mixed bag. 4 ERA, 1.7 whip, 8.10 OPS, real rough. 29 CSW is really good, paired with a 40% O-swing. So there is some swing and miss in Garrett's game, but the challenges to the inside, let's call them, right? So I don't want to say he can't challenge, but when hitters are not biting and he's forced inside, the in-zone contact rate is up above 94. So that's a very weird and disparate coupling of statistics, and we're going to have to see where they go, right? 40 O-swing, 94 Z-con really don't match, because 40% O-swing is awesome, means you're very deceptive. 94% in-zone contact rate means you're not. But the balls hit in the zone are being paired with a 45% hard hit rate via StatCast. That's a raw 95-mile-an-hour metric, and that's led to a better than 375 expected WOBA year-to-date, in particular against the major split of hitters. He's better than 900 OPS to righties on the year, which is going to get you in trouble. He's only gone 5 innings, 1 of 4 times. He's struggling to locate that sinker and changeup to righties. Each of those have that 600 X slug, really that parameter, that benchmark that we're looking for to attack, right? I call them attack metrics. So we're looking at, no, of course, first of all, I should preface this with, it goes with Paul Goldschmidt, but he's uber chalk, he's super expensive and very hard to get paid on with leverage. Here's our second tip with Jock Market. Remember, we always want to be looking for the cheapest players. And I know that kind of sounds intuitive, but it's not so much in DraftKings or FanDuel, where everybody dogpiles on the cheap player, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to profit. In Jock Market, any player that's cheap, it means there was low demand. So production from that spot is inherent leverage, and the reason we've done so well. So as we become more popular and our picks are getting out there and becoming more popular, we're spiting ourselves, really, but such is life. we have to be reticent of that. We have to be weary of this, cognizant of these price moves. And now, like, I'm kind of lowering. I know I've always said 666, and for really great players and really great spots, I think it matters. But we really want to be focusing on the 525 and below, because it just happens. Really good hitters come in at that, and that's how you're going to get paid. So we're going to be looking at Arenado, because, of course, Goldschmidt is breaking the slate every day. Let's fade him. Hopefully he'll just walk a few times, right? So that's possible. People forget about the variance in baseball. Arenado versus lefties, year-to-date, 950 OPS, 37% ISO. So right off the bat, ring-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling for the total base props. When you have a 37% ISO, when you're looking for 3 at-bats in those first 5 innings, we're hoping one of those will be an extra base hit. 17% barrel, paired with a 48% hard hit rate, and 5 Ramalama ding-dongs versus lefties this year. We're also looking at Dylan Carlson, who's been coming on hot, but he's always hit lefties well. 333 BA on the year, 950 OPS. I think he hit a ding-dong yesterday. Love to get behind these young guys post-hype when they're getting up off the mat. So look for Arenado with the bomb symbol. He's going yard today, plus Dylan Carlson. And then last but not least, we're looking for White Sox lefties against Chase Silseth. Now, the White Sox are really a very heavy right-handed team. And they're not white-handed, they're white-socked and right-handed. All right, so bad jokes aside, I know we have sheets queued up. You'll see them up on the sheet already for the audio-only listeners. But other than that, the left-handed situation for the White Sox is a bit messy. But let's take a look at Chase Silseth, 5 ERA, 1.5 WHIP, 890 OPS on the year, and that was after the first time out. He went 6 innings, gave up no earned runs, and we thought like he might be something. And since then, it's a 7.84 ERA, better than 2 WHIP, 3.5 home runs per 9 since. Lefties year to date have a 550 WOBA and 1,400 OPS, and all 4 home runs he's allowed. So of course, we're circling all Chicago White Sox lefties, including Gavin Sheets in particular, since he got promoted again on late June. So again, it's a very small set, but he's been awesome. 7 for his last 18, 2 doubles and a ding-dong, his last 36 plate appearances. This kind of spans past the demotion, which I'm not a huge fan of, but they are statistics. Last 36 plate appearances against righties, 306 BA, 44 hard hit, 860 OPS. So everything kind of in line for Gavin Sheets to do some work. Anyone that's been following, DraftKings is currently down. So we're having some problems with some of these numbers. Sometimes I throw in the total base props pricing, but we don't have that as of yet. All right, let's get into the second pillar of profit. Now that we have our stacks into the fantasy, and we go. Alrighty-duddy-doo. For the audio-only listeners, I'll walk you through it. As you know, I like to be very regimented in my approach. We've done very well with this. Tuesday and Wednesday, we mine the advanced statistical leaderboard, starters and hitters, to apply them on Thursday, right? Tuesday and Wednesday, hitters and pitchers. Thursday, we're going to give you an ad at every position for 10, 12, and 15-team leagues, all of which I play in. I actually don't play in 10-team leagues, but those are the easiest to compensate for. And then Friday, we did the bullpen deep dive. And already, I think we had our first hit, so we'll probably do that. Monday was news and notes, although I'll see. I'm okay with ditching that for something better. If you have any ideas, please get at the big dude. All right, these are starters that have at least 4 starts in the last 30 days. We're going to be looking at notable names, interesting names inside the top 60 of swinging strike rate, and then inside the top 45 of barrel allowed. If you'll notice, the stats are a little bit different because I did not get my own updates, and they're 6 days old. So, of course, if your updates are 6 days old, you missed a spot in the pitching rotation, and that's just not going to work. So, hat tip to my boy John Anderson. He's at Rotoballer and a few other places. Follow him on Twitter. Man, his fantasy baseball tool he's created on Tableau is excellent. If you're patient and don't mind learning how to use it briefly, it is fantastic. So this is a hat tip to him. We're using his stuff, so big thank you to you, Johnny. All right, inside the top 60 of swing strike rate, at the top, Yusei Kikuchi, Blake Snell, Daniel Lynch, Jose Quintana, Jeffrey Springs, Braxton Garrett, David Peterson, Connor Pilkington, George Kirby, and JT Brubaker. All of these players have at least 11.7, let's call it 12% swinging strike rate. Now, these are players that are interesting. The first, for a few guys I name, we're holding our nose. But generally, when you're seeing a swinging strike rate very elevated, it's interesting. Fantasy in particular, DFS in particular, where you're rewarded for strikeouts. We want to highlight the guys being able to get it. Maybe we're just a control command issue away from being viable. So, gotta highlight Kikuchi. I know some people have wholly discarded him. I don't know if I'm necessarily adding him yet, but I am keeping an eye on him. Again, the division is so tough. It's going to be hard to find out who the real Kikuchi is. Same for Blake Snell. I'm more into Blake Snell than I am Kikuchi because of the division. I think you should be adding Blake Snell low right now. He was slow out of the box. A lot of the underlying stuff is excellent. I think Blake Snell could give us a second half like we saw him be kind of a league winner. Jose Quintana is really interesting because we don't necessarily think of him getting swings and misses. We think of him this year. He's been very good as far as command goes. But if he's going to be getting swings and misses, he's not garbage. Quintana is viable. Jeffrey Springs, who we've mentioned as an ad, he's one of our gold stars this year. We added him everywhere early on. Then to David Peterson, who with McGill out for a long time, his future is going to be questionable, so it's not an ad yet. To Pilkington, who's starting today, I think we want to see what we get. Kirby, again, who we thought would be excellent, came into the bigs, and it's been disappointing as far as strikeouts, but it's hard to just peg this guy needing him to be a tremendous star right off the bat. So keep an eye on Kirby, another guy we might want to add now before it's too late. And Brubaker, again, we were on Brubaker for a while. He's been excellent the past couple starts. People just very easy to get rid of Pittsburgh. Notice Quintana, notice Brubaker. Keller's been okay, so is Lorenzo Contreras. What does that mean? Pittsburgh pitching's not bad. I know everybody just wants to say everything Pittsburgh stinks. Everything Pittsburgh does not stink. Okay, so let's get over to the contact allowed barrel percentages there. Again, I'll just read it off so I don't forget anybody because I do have a tendency to ramble. Surprise, surprise. I talk too much. It's Andre Palante for the Cardinals with a sub 3% barrel rate. Excellent. Chris Bubich, yesterday again, we went after him, keeping that barrel rate down. That matters. He's been a bit of a gas can. I think there is potential. I've had a beef with the Kansas City pitching organization. So where we like to identify organizations that are doing well, like Tampa always, used to be Cleveland, and now Pittsburgh has been very good. Kansas City, even when you get a sniff of something, it's easy for me to be like, I really want to see it maybe more than once. To Dakota Hudson, we know limits contact, but I just can't get behind him because there's been too many walks. We'll get to that in a minute. David Peterson, who I like. Now, if a guy is on the swing, strike, and barrel lists, it's a pretty good combination. Generally, somebody we would circle to add, but with Max coming back, I don't know how the role will be, but keep your eye on David Peterson. To Justin Steele, who's been very good for the Cubs. Tyler Wells has been very good for the Orioles. Graham Ashcraft, who we have circled. I know we got blown up a couple starts ago, and everyone dropped him. I rolled him out again. He went 8 innings and gave up no earned runs and 1 earned run. So get with Ashcraft. I like him. He's going to be tough to start in Cincinnati, but if you're desperate for starters and you see him on a waiver, you can definitely start him on the road. Followed up with Josh Winkowski and Jason Alexander, both limited contact in tough environments, but both could be viable starters on the road. Josh Winkowski is Boston. Jason Alexander is Milwaukee. So there's just some interesting names. Pitching is very, very tough this year, and anybody could give you the top guys in swing strike rate. Guess what, everybody? Corbin Burns is awesome. Yo, go pick up Corbin Burns. It's ridiculous. A waste of my time and a waste of yours. So even if all of these fruits might not have juice inside of them, right? Some might be spoiled or rotten. Some of them are going to be sweet, juicy, and delicious. And at this point in the year, finding the delicious pitching fruit is what it's all about. All right, let's get into the third pillar profit before we get out of here. Alrighty. We got some bets up on the board. Oh my God, I'm thinking about betting right now and I'm puke. So bad. I had 2 bets yesterday. I eliminated one because I thought it was silly. Right, the model was screaming over Pittsburgh, Washington. Of course, we had 1 million base runners. Washington had 1 million runners in scoring position, and we didn't get it. It's just been the story of this year. And then I had Baltimore F5 because of Kirby struggles against right-handed hitters. If you're scoffing, you don't believe me, I did have Mancini, right? So Mancini was a nice hit. He helped us out in Jock Market. Baltimore righties were a nice boon in Jock Market, but I didn't have the guts to go against them. They, of course, won. The Pittsburgh-Washington over is what spoiled the parlay. It was the Pablo Lopez at 5. They got crushed, of course. They had runners on early, looking like they could take a lead. Didn't happen. St. Louis went up 1 early. I thought maybe we'd have a chance to tie it. Miami peed themselves with men on, and then St. Louis blew up Pablo Lopez, of course. Like, go figure. Like I said, I scratched the Baltimore bet. They took care of business. We posted Seager. He did not take care of business, and then everyone else in the Stack Attack list did. It's been extremely frustrating. In particular, when you look at the success of the model, I mean, it's just like, it's enough to pull your hair out. And I think the lesson for me, as I limp into the second half, is I think maybe I'm trying to be too cute. And I've had this issue in the past, meaning you have to understand a model is not a predictor. A model just gets you within the range of outcomes to try and put you in a strong probabilistic scenario. That being said, the model goes with great, right? If you follow the work. That's why I like to show all my work. I don't want to hear it if we lose, because it's out there. All the work's out there. So the best I can do is go by the strength of the model. I don't necessarily just go by the strongest one. I don't pay attention to decimal bips the same way I would tell you not to pay attention to a tenth of a percentage point in swing strike rate, right? We have to understand signal versus noise. But I do have ranges, and I try and narrow it down to like you see, because I don't want to be the guy giving out a million plays. But maybe in this environment, maybe that's the answer. And again, not a million plays, but meaning playing whatever the model says. And if it's 12, it doesn't mean you risk more, last feather in the cap for today. Let's say you have $10 to bet every day. If you have 2 bets, you bet $5 bet. If you have 10 bets, you bet $1 bet. And the idea being to expose yourself to as many of these advantageous scenarios where the percentages will work out. And I think that's what's hurt us, is the model's been extremely strong, and we just keep getting caught zigging and not zagging, and then being cute with parlays, hitting 3 or 4, hitting 3 or 4, hitting 3 or 4, hitting 3 or 4. Well, if you're parlaying all those, you're ending up with 0 in the profit column, but you're having a 75% win rate, which those two things obviously are not congruent. And I did have a list follower yesterday say they made the switch to round robins, and they're very happy for it. Now, I'll tell you what, I may move the dime bag over to round robins. I was worried because I was worried about being too complicated, because that's another part of my, the downside of following me, I find sometimes. But maybe I'm just not giving people enough credit. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to put out the most complicated, not the most difficult stuff, but the stuff that works. The stuff that I'd be doing. But I tend to dumb it down, and it's not to demean anybody out there. It's just we have to try and appeal to the new bettor that's being welcomed into betting. We don't want them to get hurt, and one of the ways these people get hurt is by over-leveraging themselves. So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm limping into the second half. I believe in all the plays, and I'm just going to keep doing the things we do. We can obviously just have it turn around one day and say, shh. And that's kind of what happens. In fact, my best betting season ever was after what was the worst betting stretch of my career before this right here, though. The units are not that bad because I've just decelerated my risk. I'm barely betting at all right now. We're at a unit or less per night. And that's just what it is. So there, you know what I mean? Like, when things are bad, I'm not going to go chin first into max risks. It's stupid. So, all right, you can see the bets up on the board, everybody. Sometimes theory is more important than the actual plays, especially when the plays are not going well. So we got Miami and St. Louis, F5 over 4.5. I actually walked you through the first half of that. We told you why we like St. Louis against Miami, but Dakota Hudson has been no cup of tea. Yeah, the ERA at 3.72, but the whip at 1.35. His Sierra is north of 5. The K rate at 13, the walk rate at 11. That's a 2% K minus walk rate for you math whizzes out there. That's not any good. The first strike rate down around 50. His chase rate down around 25. And zone contact rate up over 93 is a plus 800 OPS to righties on the year. Miami looking really good. 277 batting average as a team, last 250 plate appearances, and a better than 90% in-zone contact rate, better than 27% line drive rate. They're making really good contact, plus 41% hard hit rate. So I think we have all of the calculus there, where between the two of them, give me the F505. Hopefully, finally, we get one early. This one's going to be 3-2 in the first, and it's going to be like, whew, and hopefully that will be the tipping point for us to take the roller coaster ride down. And now on to Chicago White Sox. I have them on the money line. The model was just screaming again. DraftKings is down. A few offsite sites were down. It's very hard to find lines right now. But I did notice my model was screaming White Sox, and they were heavy plus money. We mentioned Silthus and his struggles. Johnny Cueto's actually been pretty good. I mean, I don't want to overstate Johnny Cueto. 319 whip, 115 OPS. All the earned run indicators looking pretty strong. Deserved. ERA really low, down around 3. And we know the strikeout stuff is not great, but he does use his timing to his advantage. And the LA offense really has just been struggling right now. It's been on base. They're getting on base because they're walking, but the contact stuff is really low. I know the WRC plus is there, but again, I think a little bit of that is off because they are. I'm not trying to describe this. I think we're on the down wave of the sine wave. The Angels seem to be this very streaky team, right? They rattled off the 15 wins in a row, and then they went in the tank and all this stuff. And I'm just not buying the Angels offense right now. We'll see if Cueto can fool them for this game. I think there'll be some scoring done. So I don't think we're going to get this 1-3-1, but I do think White Sox plus 135 is a definite hit. I would have preferred to post this as an F5, but I couldn't find it. So if I can't find it and I can't bet it, I don't post it. And then let's wrap it up with the over 1.5 total base props. Again, these were impossible to find. They're not up. So I could find Michael Chavis, and it was plus money. So there we go. Let's get it. Although I do want to caveat this. If he's not in the top 4, you can't play plus 105. That's another one. As we progress in this, the calculus and how we properly apply this, the numbers, I got to get in the top 3rd, and I'll move to 4. But if he's in 5th spot or back, don't pay plus 105. We want plus 115, plus 120 or better to compensate for that missing plate appearance. Now, granted, he could get it, but I don't like to look at it that way. We want to make sure all the numbers are always in our favor, and then let the odds play out regardless of what the short-term outcomes have looked like. So please, before you go smash Michael Chavis, let's wait for a lineup. Let's wait for these props to come out. Follow me on Twitter, and make sure to thank Patty Mayo, because we're going to be doing implied team totals as always, starting pitcher rankings, the pitcher matrix, advanced pitcher stats, and all that stuff. It's really awesome. I run the algo, score it, and then you get DraftKings stacks with jock market pricing and ratings and stuff like that as we progress through the day. Because again, now that we're really focusing on individual bets, the lineups are going to matter more and more. And until they come out, that plate appearance matters. Chavis batting 2nd or Chavis batting 8th is a huge difference. DraftKings less so, because we want the plus, we want to pay $2,500 or whatever. So again, head on a swivel. I'm sorry if it is convoluted a bit, but once you start to cut through the fog, you can't forget the clarity, right? You cannot you cannot unlearn what you have learned, young Padawan. So, all right, that'll do it before we get out of here. Once we're doing Star Wars stuff, that is absolutely just ridiculous. I think I actually backed up into my screen there. Sorry about that. I have OCD. I could not deal with that. So, live TV being what it is, and we're getting out of here. Just enough of that. Let's get more of this. Hopefully, it includes some winning. So, thank you, everybody, for picking up what we're putting down. You got your stacks. We got some interesting fantasy starting pitcher names to mention. Those are always really important to be first. It's very, very difficult right now. I'm trying to assign a roster spot on all of my teams to. It's not so much stream, it's more churn, because these are not even guys I want to roll out. I want to add them, have them produce, and then use them. My son, obviously my kids are home from summer vacation, and my kids are crazy. So, all right, that'll do it. Thanks, everybody, so much. Rate, review, subscribe. Please download the Jock Market app. We'll catch up there today. Chavis, Madris. We're going to be going after Corbin and attacking all of these player stacks, especially below that $4 mark. Okay, so double slate tonight. Don't forget, early slates, and then again at 8:05. I'll check you later. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the games. When we're done with the book, enjoy that pay, everybody. And remember, when you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck, yo. Peace.